This has to be the coolest way to play Fallout 4 on a handheld gaming device. What I've got here is the AYN Thor, and as you can see, we've got a dual screen device here. Up top, we've got Fallout 4 running on our main screen, but the secondary screen is being used completely for an in-game Pip-Boy. Hey, what's going on everybody? It's ETA Prime back here again. This is going to be kind of a quick video, but I thought this was interesting enough to kind of show off. And I do want to mention that I'm not the first one to come up with this idea, but I'm a huge fan of Fallout, and as soon as I saw it, I knew I had to get this up and running on my AYN Thor. It's actually pretty simple to do. Recently, one of my good friends sent me a link to a Reddit post by Mr. Brotherson, and in that video, they're doing the same exact thing on their AYN Thor. I'll leave a link to that Reddit post in the description below in case you want to check it out. There's a couple ways to go about this, but first things first, I want to show you how this works. So as you can see on the top screen, I've got Fallout 4 running. On the bottom screen, we've got the Pip-Boy here. When I swap weapons, it's going to swap in-game. We've got our in-game map, inventory, everything like that. I mean, if it works in the game's Pip-Boy, it's going to work on this bottom screen Pip-Boy. And when Fallout 4 was initially released, Bethesda also released the special edition version that came with a real Pip-Boy. You could wear this thing. It's pretty awesome. I did pick one up. Comes with a nice Vault-Tec case. And with that Pip-Boy, they also released an app. So basically, you'd put your phone inside of the Pip-Boy, close it down, you'd start the app up, you'd connect it to your game, whether you're on PS3, Xbox, or PC, and you've got a fully functional Pip-Boy right there. And the way I've got this up and running, on the AYN Thor is the same exact concept. So we've actually got the Pip-Boy app installed on the AYN Thor, and that's running on the bottom screen. We've got Fallout 4 on the top screen. Now, when it comes to running Fallout 4 on a device like this, I mean, it's powered by Android. We've got an ARM chipset. The very first thing you want to do here is actually download the Pip-Boy application, and I think the highest version is 1.2. You can search on Google and you can find it. I got mine from APK Mirror, and it works out just fine on this device. But now we need to kind of decide how we want to run Fallout 4 on the Thor. Again, you can emulate it using something like GameHub or GameHub Lite. So this will work, and you're not going to be streaming it. You're going to emulate it directly on this ARM chip. But I'll tell you, if you want to run it, at a higher resolution, 60 FPS, this really isn't the way to do it. Of course, taking it down to 30, 720p, lowest settings, you can actually run the game pretty well throughout, still use that Pip-Boy app. But the way I've been doing this on my Thor is actually streaming the game using an application like Moonlight or Steam Link. I personally like using Steam Link. You could use Artemis if you want to. There's plenty of streaming apps out there. It's not cloud gaming, so latency is definitely cut down. This is streaming from my own PC. And the Steam version of the game right now, with their latest update, isn't going to work with the Pip-Boy app, so you need an older version of Fallout 4. I mentioned that I'm using the GOG version, which is actually around 2 years old right now. It's the Game of the Year edition. And I just added the EXE to Steam as a non-Steam game, so we can still stream it. You can do this with basically any application. We'll go ahead and start it up. Now that we're into the game, there's one thing we need to enable from the settings. So from the main menu here, we're going to go to Settings, Gameplay, and then scroll all the way down until you see a section called Pip-Boy App Enabled. Make sure this is on. And if you do not see this and you're in Settings, Gameplay, it means you don't have the correct version of Fallout 4 installed. Again, this is the Game of the Year edition from GOG, so it's an older version than the one that's on Steam right now. So I've got the Pip-Boy app enabled from within the game. I've also got that Pip-Boy app installed on the AYN Thor. Playing the game, super smooth here with the Steam Link version that I use. Again, I'm able to go up to 120 FPS with this, given the Wi-Fi connection. And personally, I've always had really good luck with Steam Link on most of my devices. But if you have trouble, you can move over to Moonlight or something different. It's really up to you. All right, let me make sure there's no more danger around. Now we can start up the Pip-Boy application. So this is going to be running on the bottom screen, running as a separate application. And I love the boot up on this. It's automatically going to connect to my PC because I've already set this up. Yours will look different if you haven't set it up yet. Basically, it's going to ask you if you want to connect to PC, Xbox, or PS3. And obviously, we're going to choose PC with this one. But these devices need to be on the same network if you're streaming using something like Steam Link or Moonlight. Most of the time, you will be on the same network to get good performance out of streaming. But it's going to load right into my Pip-Boy. And one thing to note here is once you tap that bottom screen, you'll need to re-tap the top screen to, get that built-in controller to work with the top screen. That's the only annoying part about this. But if you're a Fallout fan, especially for Fallout 4, then this is a pretty cool little setup. If you own a Thor, it's definitely worth trying out. And I don't see why it wouldn't work on another dual screen handheld. In fact, I mean, if you wanted to run this on your Ally X and just, put your phone on the top, you could do it that way with the Pip-Boy app. But I do think having both of these screens built in with that Pip-Boy on the bottom is pretty cool. There's one last thing that I want to show you here. From the in-game settings, we do have a way to customize our Pip-Boy in-game, and I actually wasn't sure that this would work with the app, but it does. We can actually change the color, and you can see that the color of the app also changes. So you can totally customize this to your liking, and overall, yeah, pretty awesome, but I'll probably just leave this one green. And again, if you wanted to emulate this game at 30 FPS, the Thor does have more than enough power, but don't expect to run at a continuous 60 and, see great performance throughout. I think taking it down to 30 at 720p on this device using something like Game Hub Lite is really doable. But that's going to wrap it up for this one. I thought it was interesting enough to show off, and keep in mind I'll leave a link to that Reddit post in the description below. But that's it for this one, and like always, thanks for watching.